Hi everyone, good to be here with you again. Shakti here. Some time ago, I heard a short video on YouTube, a spiritual teacher talking about fear. They said, your fears are either in the past or in the future. You need to be in the present moment to be fearless. This statement triggered me to share my understanding of fear. While there is truth in the above statement, understanding and becoming free of fear may not be that simple for most of us. Because fear manifests in different dimensions and has many layers to it. Let me explain in several different points below. First of all, let's recognize that fear is a primal emotion. A primal emotion is a basic emotion that is innate, universal, and plays a vital role in our survival. It's experienced by all animals. By recognizing fear as an emotion, we also need to recognize that it presents itself at different levels of intensity. A very simple ranking of fear from the most to the least fearful is terror, panic, horror, fright, scared, anxious, apprehensive, nervous, and timid. If you Google synonym of fear, you can find many more words that express different states of fear from mild to severe. Fear is hidden or covered by other emotions. In other words, fear does not appear as fear at the surface level in many situations for many people. What one experiences at the surface level might be anger, sadness, frustration, etc. If they dig deeper, underneath these secondary or tertiary emotions, there is most likely fear. So, one needs to be very careful and diligent in identifying their emotional reactive patterns to reach to the underlying emotion of fear. Another dimension of manifestation of fear is presentation as a behavior or a practice supported by erroneous belief systems. Let me give an example. One of my clients came one day very distressed. The cause of their distress was a birthday invitation, 30th birthday invitation from their friend in their country. Why and how could a birthday invitation cause this much distress? I wondered. A simplified sequence of questions described below reveal the underlying fear. I asked, what does this invitation mean to you? They replied, it reminds me that I would turn 30 next year. My question, what does turning 30 mean to you? Their reply, I may have wrinkles on my face. What does having wrinkles on your face mean to you? That means I am old. What does being old mean to you? My partner would leave me. Nobody would like me. You see, the fear of rejection and abandonment is at the root of their distress over a birthday invitation. Moreover, there is an underlying erroneous belief. The belief that nobody would like me when I'm old supports this fear, which make them behave the way they are behaving. Additionally, fear arises in our attachment aversion experience. Fear of losing something that we have strong attachment to, and fear of experiencing something that we don't like. For example, Human fear of losing their possession, their health, has fed into the entire insurance industry, hasn't it? Also, imagine the anxiety one would experience going home for Thanksgiving or when one's mother-in-law is visiting them, for example. So, when we have attachment or aversion, know that fear is behind them. Fear has biological, social, and mental aspect to it. Under biological, I include hormonal and genetic factors, which I will address a little bit later on in this video. First of all, the biological aspect of fear. The root of fear is in our biological mechanism that induces the physical state of being in fear. This biological mechanism bypasses the cerebral cortex, so logical suppression is not an option. Fear and fear response happen even before we start to think about it. From the time when human beings were living as hunter-gatherers till today, fear has been the survival protection mechanism that triggered flight, fight, or flee response from real or perceived danger. When preparing for the flight or fight response, the human body activates the sympathetic nervous system, causing the adrenal glands to release hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, leading to physiological changes such as increased heart rate, faster breathing, dilated pupils, muscle tension, and redirection of blood flow to vital organs, essentially prioritizing immediate action over other bodily functions to either confront a threat or escape from danger. So, fear is a life or death situation for our primitive brain. Ever since people started living in social groups, social association of fear emerged. Fear has been the most effective way to keep the group under control, group together. In other words, domination and control of the group. You might have experienced or read, follow the rules, do what the leaders say, don't talk back, don't express yourself, or else? Or else what? Or else you would be punished. You only need to study human history to understand the role of fear to control and dominate. Historically, the punishment would have been from simple reprimand to flogging, public humiliation, social exclusion, or even death. Whether it is small tribes, social groups, religious groups, or even nations, fear has been the cause of many wars and deaths of millions of people in history. Wouldn't you agree? When we say fear is universal emotion, it does not mean that the cause, the level and intensity with which it is expressed and experienced is universal. Individuals' background, upbringing, socio-economic status, environment, etc. play a big role in the experience and the expression of fear. In other words, there are many other social associations to fear. The dynamics, experience, and expression of fear is different if you are a man or a woman, son or a daughter, eldest or the youngest child in the family, white or a black person, upper class or a lower class, young or old, rich or poor, master or servant, boss or an employee, and so on. What about other social fears, such as fear of disappointing our parents, family, adults, husband or wife, fear of disapproval, fear of rejection, abandonment, fear of being judged, fear of criticism, fear of being embarrassed or humiliated, fear of failure or success, fear of shame, fear of ill health, fear of death. Oh, What about fear of God? That's a big one. Mental and psychological aspects of fear include all kinds of phobias people experience. I'm not going into the detail here in this video, but know that many people suffer from different phobias which are which can be grouped under the impact of fear. Let us expand a little bit on the biological aspect of fear. I said earlier, fear triggers flight, fight, or flee response in our bodies. Fear triggers the secretion of hormones called adrenaline and cortisol. When people are out of danger, the body regulates itself and these hormones are removed from the bloodstream and the body is restored to normal functioning. However, when someone is under stress or in an abusive relationship for an extended period of time, their bodies continuously pump adrenaline and cortisol. Over a period of time, the physical body gets addicted to these chemicals just like any other substance addiction. Even when these people are in a safe place, because their bodies are addicted to these chemicals, the mind continues to create fearful situations to yield to the body's craving for these chemicals. These are all called adrenaline addiction, cortisol addiction, etc. This adds additional layer of complication to become free of fear. Finally, fear is in our genetics as well. Many recent research show that individual and collective trauma experienced by humans over several millennia have their imprints in our DNA and it could manifest in different ways as generational trauma. So, in short, one can say that fear is not just a thought. It is in our body, in our biology, and in our individual and collective psyche. Okay, what does this all mean? How can one become free of fear? Firstly, the good news. The good news is that we don't have to become free of all our fears. Remember, fear is our survival protection mechanism. At some level, fear is good. Also, for many people, mild anxiety helps them to improve their performance and productivity. So there is some value in having fear. Secondly, knowledge is power. Having this knowledge itself will help one to recognize and manage their fears. Thirdly, many negative emotions, particularly fear, is supported by our belief system. This could have been useful or protective at our younger years, but become dysfunctional and erroneous as we grow. Moreover, after all, many of our beliefs are ingrained in us by external agencies such as family, society, culture, and religion. So, identifying the underlying belief system could eliminate many fears. Next, examine your behaviors and choices. Are they fear-driven and fear-based? Ask yourself questions like something like that as given below. Are you performing in your life? How authentic are you? Are you a people pleaser? Do you walk on eggshell in your life? Do you speak, dress, and act in a particular way to conform? Do you feel restricted and constricted by the rules, regulations, and expectations? Do you feel suffocated by the demands of the world? Do you feel drained and exhausted? Do you manipulate or can you be easily manipulated? Do you tell lies? Do you lie to yourself? Fear is most likely the cause in all the above behaviors. You need to be extremely honest and courageous to look into yourself. This process could be painful, but paradoxically, this pain is what sets you free of fear. Importantly, one needs to cultivate and increase their level of self-awareness. I have one video on Introduction to Self-Awareness, the link of which I have given in the description below. There are a lot of help available in the World Wide Web if you are open to it. I also intend to post more videos on self-awareness. Once one is highly self-aware, they can catch themselves experiencing fear, and gradually, at one stage, they can catch themselves just before fear arises. After all, at the root of it, fear is a sensation. All sensations are perceptions, brain's interpretation. So, with this knowledge and increased self-awareness, many forms of fear could be regulated, managed, and eliminated. Meditation and journaling are other ways to regulate one's emotions in general and fear in particular. Meditation gives us the mental strength to accept and allow the feelings and sensations and thereby transform or transmute them. Additionally, all fears and including generational trauma could be managed and healed through good therapy and counseling. However, at the bottom of it, you need to believe in becoming free of fear. Believe in the potential that you can be free of fear. Agree to the potential, then claim that you are free of fear. This is a famous quote from Paul Selig, which I often remind myself of. So, through increased self-awareness, personal will, and professional support, one can learn to regulate and eventually become free of fears. So, please do not minimize, dismiss, devalue, disregard, deny, reject, suppress, repress, ignore, or neglect your own or others' fears. Through awareness, acceptance, and allowing, we can be free of many forms of fears. All it requires is discipline, effort, and practice, and it is achievable. Thank you.